plan is clear, and at the same time, dangerous. The Toronto Blue Jays are entering 2026 looking like a true contender, but with one detail that's impossible to ignore for long. The bullpen still feels incomplete. And this isn't a small concern. It's the kind of flaw that decides October or destroys it. Because when a team comes within one game of a World Series, there's no margin left. No, let's see what happens. It becomes surgical. It becomes pressure. And that's where the central point comes in. The name starting to circulate behind the scenes isn't just any arm. It's Abreu. Now hold that for a second, because this potential move says more about the Blue Jays than any signing they've made so far. It's not about adding talent. It's about admitting something is still missing. And maybe that something is exactly what separates a good team from a champion. The context isn't simple. Toronto lost Bo Bichette, and there's no way to pretend that doesn't matter. It's not just production, it's identity, it's lineup rhythm, the kind of presence that changes how a game unfolds. But the front office responded. They gave Dylan Cease a $210 million deal. They brought in Kazuma Okamoto to reinforce the lineup. On paper, that keeps the team competitive, strong, even. But here's what almost nobody is talking about. The Jays' offense in 2025 produced runs, fourth in baseball. But it wasn't built on pure power. It wasn't a home run-driven lineup. It was about construction, consistency, constant pressure. That works beautifully in July. But in October demands swing and miss. It demands arms that come in and take the bat out of the opponent's hands. And that's where things start to get uncomfortable. The current bullpen has interesting pieces. It has arms that could work. The front office added Tyler Rogers, and Spencer Miles try and shape the group. But the issue isn't quantity, it's profile. There's a lack of heavy velocity, a lack of pitches that simply overpower hitters, a lack of true swing and miss in high leverage spots. And that's not a minor technical detail. That's survival in the postseason. Now stop for a second, because there's one detail here that changes everything. Abreu isn't just a good reliever. He's exactly the type of arm that fixes the structural issue in this bullpen. 97.3 miles per hour average fastball in 2025, 2.28 ERA, 105 strikeouts in 71 innings. That's not just consistency, that's dominance. And if you go back to 2022, it becomes even clearer. Over 11 postseason innings, 0 runs allowed, 19 strikeouts. That's not random. That's performance under maximum pressure. So here's the uncomfortable question. If that kind of arm is available, why isn't he already in Toronto? Because it's not simple. First contract. Abreu is on a 1-year, $5.85 million deal. He hits free agency after the season. So any team trading for him is paying for a short window, not a long-term investment. A bet, and an expensive one. Because when the trade deadline hits, half the league will be desperate for bullpen help. And every contender knows it. That's where the chess game begins. The Houston Astros don't need to rush, especially with Josh Hader on the injured list. Abreu steps in as the closer to start the season. If he performs, the price rises. If he dominates, the price explodes. If he repeats anything close to his past postseason run, it becomes a bidding war. And then, Toronto has to decide what it's willing to lose. Prospects? Depth? Future flexibility? Because you don't land this kind of arm without giving up something real. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. This isn't just about adding a name. It's about admitting the current bullpen might not be enough. And that puts a massive spotlight on Jeff Hoffman, the current closer. An inconsistent 2025. Ups and downs in key moments. Now, 2026 begins with all eyes on him. Not because he lacks talent, but because the team can't wait for him to figure it out anymore. Time's up. But what if that's not actually the main problem? What if the bullpen isn't the biggest risk? There's a scenario not many are exploring. If the offense dips, even slightly, the pressure on the bullpen doubles. Without Bo Bichette, the dynamic changes. Production might still be there, but the way it's generated shifts. Sequencing, timing, lineup depth, and that directly impacts how often the bullpen enters tight games. Tight games are exactly where you need someone like Abreu. See the cycle? It's not just a reinforcement. It's fit. It's a domino effect. The front office has already sent signals. Ross Atkins tried to strengthen the group. Mark Shapiro made it clear. The organization isn't afraid to make big moves. That's not empty talk. That's positioning. Toronto is watching, waiting, picking the exact moment to strike. And here's the reality every Jays fan knows. The American League doesn't wait. If you hesitate, someone else solved the problem first. If you try to pay less, you probably lose a player. If you wait for certainty, it's already too late. So the real question isn't if Toronto will go after an elite arm. It's when, and more importantly, what it's going to cost. Because at some point, you have to look at this roster and decide, is this the year? Is this the group worth sacrificing the future for? Is this the moment to go all in? And when you are one game away from a title, that answer starts leaning heavily in one direction. In the end, everything comes back to one simple idea. Brian Abreu isn't a luxury. He's a solution, but a solution that comes with a price. And Toronto will have to choose between safety and aggression, between trusting what they have or fixing what could break everything. Now I want to hear from you. Jays fans, would you pay the price? Or do you trust this bullpen to survive October as it is? Because that decision isn't going to wait much longer.